Alright, what is going on everyone? Just here, and today we're back again for yet another video. And it's been a while since I've posted any kind of videos for anything, and I've gotten a little off track when it comes to YouTube stuff, but I saw a lot of comments about the video that I posted about the intro, and I know that a lot of you had questions about it, and I don't really know if you're watching this or not, but I went through a lot of these and you guys seem to be having trouble. So today I'm going to be diving into that a lot better. And we're going to go ahead and just go into a normal base plate, create a new one real quick. I'm going to be doing this one a lot better than the other one. And if you want to, you don't necessarily have to. You can outload your, or lay out your output just to see in case any of your scripts come up with errors. Hopefully they don't, but what I need you to do first is to make sure your toolbox is in there, and I want you to go down to plugins in the marketplace, which is this one, the very first one, and you're gonna look for one that's called Roundify by Stelrex. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna make your GUIs look a lot better. And right now I'm going to give you an example of what it does. So we're going to go ahead and insert a screen GUI and put in a frame. So basically you'll turn your plugin on and this is what will pop up. And hold on, give me 1 second. I don't want it to be this big. Okay, so basically, we're having some technical difficulties. I don't know why it's assigning to doing this. But so basically you'll click Roundify, and of course you can adjust the size of the border. So basically all you want to do is keep it at global Z index behavior. And of course you can adjust the corner size. So increasing it will make the corners bigger, and decreasing it will make the corner cuts smaller. So if I click Roundify here, you can see that it rounds off the corners here, and it is now an image label and instead of a normal frame. So this is gonna come in handy when we get into what we're doing. And this video is gonna be basically a remake of what we were trying to do here, but it's going to be a lot better. So now that we've got all that covered, I am going to be trying to upload daily, and of course I'm going to try to get to all of your comments and to all of your questions with the best answer I can give. And of course leave comments below about video suggestions that you might have for me, because I don't have necessarily a lot of ideas for uploading. And GUIs are kind of my specialty for what I do, at least. So we're just gonna call this an intro, and well, yeah, we'll just call it an intro. Or how about no, we'll just make it our main menu. Okay, so first thing is first is that we're gonna insert a frame, and we're gonna come down here in the properties to size. If you are having trouble finding your properties, you'll go to view, and then you'll make sure that both of these are highlighted, your Explorer and your properties. We don't need command bar right now, but so basically you'll highlight both of those. And of course, if you want your output, you can highlight that too, make sure, but we don't necessarily need that right now. So now we're gonna go down to our properties and go down to size. And the best way to understand this is that you have an X and Y property, and then you also have a scale and then an offset. So we're gonna completely ignore the offset. We're gonna set it to 0, and we're gonna set both of the scales to 1. And basically what that does is, instead of sizing it to a smaller offset, you'll size it to a scale. And what that does is, rather than making small adjustments to it, you're making a whole adjustment to it, and it makes it easier to cover the entire screen. to put in simple words, and we're just gonna name this background. And of course, you know, you can adjust the color. We'll probably just go with kind of a dark gray. I think we're gonna go with, yeah, that's probably good. All right, so now we're just gonna put in a text label, and this will be your game name. The size recommendation that I typically have for these, depending on if you're gonna add a loading bar and all this other stuff, is I would put 0, 500, 0, 200, and this is typically about the size that I would use. And of course, you have your adjustments here that you can make. I will put mine at 50. And the positioning is a little sketch for people that don't really have an idea of the X and Y axis and stuff like that. And of course, if you need me to break down some math or anything, I'll make a separate video for it. But other than that, this is just going to be our title. So we will call this title. And make sure if you call these anything, if you call like your background like background main or something like that, do not leave spaces. It'll mess up the script, and I can of course show you that in a little bit and how it does that. So this is gonna be our title. We're gonna make our background transparency 1, and then what we're gonna do is come down here and you can choose whatever font you would like. My personal favorite that I like to use is Highway. It's right under, well, I don't know how to say that, but it's right above Indie Flower, and they did add some new fonts, so you guys can go explore those. We'll make this white and then text scaled, and then we'll just call this main menu. All right. Next thing we'll be putting is a image label. All right, and here's why. Well, actually, no. We'll just do a normal frame because we'll do the same thing. We're going to insert a frame to our background. And typically what I do for these is I will do a 0, 200, 200, 0, 100. And that's about right. Honestly, I'd probably go ahead and make the offset for the Y 50, just so it won't look so bulky necessarily, because we are going to add a little special feature to these. Okay, so this is where that's weird how it's like this. It looks off-center and it kind of bothers me. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. Even though it bothers me, it'll be fine. So now we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this. And what this is gonna be called is we're gonna call this play, and then we're gonna call it playback. And then this one, we're gonna go ahead and move it a little bit. We're gonna call this play front. Okay. And you'll be seeing what I'm doing here. We're going to roundify this one. Well, actually, before we roundify it, we're going to adjust the color. So we'll have this one be a lighter shade. Okay, so this one's we inserted this one first, so we're just going to switch this one to play front real quick. Then we'll make the other one play back. All right. Now that we got that figured out, we're going to adjust the color of this. Make it just about the same as that one. I'm going to click OK. And then we're going to make this one slightly bigger at the bottom. We'll make it a 60. I'm going to line it up here. And we should be good with that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click roundify, and then now the button is completely roundified. So now what we're going to do is make sure this one's on top and make sure it's completely lined up. And we are going to make this a lighter shade, and then we're going to roundify this one as well. Alright, so at this point you'll notice that it's a little offset, and simply to fix that is you have to make sure that the tops are lined up, and it'll look like it kind of pops out like it does now. And basically, well, you could always put the play front into the playback, and that should fix everything. Okay, so now we have a pop out button that looks pretty sick, right? And what we're gonna do is we're going to insert a text button. Okay, not a text label, a text button, because it's not a button yet. And it's gonna act like a text label, but you're gonna make the background transparency 1. And if you're wondering where that is, it's right under the background color, which should be under data. And we'll just go ahead and pick highway. Of course, use whatever font you would like. But it's the one that I choose to use most often. We're gonna make the text white. We're gonna scale it. And we're gonna put in all caps, play. Okay, so now we have our very, very nice looking play button. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate these, and this might be a little bit more complicated, but it'll be all right. And of course, we'll duplicate it again. Get our spacing pretty close, so at least it looks a little nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go down and change these. We have a help, and we'll come down here. We'll make this a credits. Okay, I spelled that wrong. It's okay though. So now we're gonna get into the scripting portion of this, and we're gonna change some of these. We have to change all the names of these. So I'll let you go ahead and do that while I'm doing this. If you have to pause the video, you can do that now and make sure you have everything correct before we continue. You do not have to copy the names of these at all. You can of course call it whatever you want. If you're just doing this for practice, feel free to name them the same. But we just have to make sure that the main one, like, you have your background and then you have your 3 image labels as your buttons. And you have to make sure that each one of these is a different name. Because if not, then your script is going to mess up, and we definitely don't want that. I spelled that wrong. Okay, so now that we have all this done, we're going to go ahead and work on our play button. All right, the play button is the easiest one, and that's what we're going to start with. So what we're going to do is insert a local script, and if you cannot find it, then you just put in an LO and it'll pop up. All right, so this is typically where most people get confused, and I'm going to be trying to break this down in the most easiest way possible that I can. In this, we are going to have only, let's see. So the values that we are going to be putting in here is the background, the play button, the help button, the credits button, and of course we'll have the help frame and the credits frame when we get to it. So what we're going to do is to create our local values, and basically a local value is a quicker way to find one of these. So then you don't have to type out as much when you're scripting. And we're going to set our local. We're going to put local background equals script. And basically script is the script here. So from here on, what we're working towards is the background. So we'll put dot parent, and what parent is parent is the holder of whatever you are scripting. So the parent of this local script would be the text button or the play button. And the second parent of that would be the image label that is holding the text button that is holding the script. And then the next parent would be the background. And that's all you have to do for that. And then our next local value would be our local play button, which would equal to script.parent.parent, and that's all we need to do for that. Our local help button will be script.parent.parent.help-back, which is our help button, but it's an image label, so that's where that's at. And you'll do the same thing for the credits button, but the only difference is that the ending will be the credits back instead. Okay, so at this point, we only have the buttons, and we'll add the credits frame and also the help frame once we add them. At this point, you will set your script and work it into a function. So what we're going to do is put script.parent.mouse button one click, and basically what one click means is when you complete a full click. So that means clicking it and then releasing it. And what I mean by that is that we also have a one up and a one down. All right, so a one down means that all they have to do is press their mouse button down and it'll activate. And if it goes back up, that's a whole nother activation. But we will be using the mouse button one click for the time being. And then of course you're going to connect it to the function. And what this is doing is the function that is connecting all this to is what's within these parentheses. So this parenthesis is the start, this parenthesis is the finish, and then everything in here is what the mouse button one click is activating. What we're doing now is we're going to add all of these local functions into here. So once we click the play button, we want everything to be invisible. So we'll put our background equals, or background dot visible equals false. So to break this down to you, this little script would be the same thing as going into clicking the background, going to its visibility, which is this, and basically you're unchecking this. So you see what it does? Which of course, you know, setting this invisible like this versus setting it invisible in the game. So you would click this and it'd go. All right. Now you'll see why I put the local values, the other values in just a second. So basically, we probably Yeah, we'll go ahead and take these out, and we'll make sure that we add the other frames in there just in case they get stuck open. But what these buttons are going to be doing is acting as a double activation, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So what we're going to be working on now is the other buttons, and we're going to go ahead and put these frames, we'll make them all fancy and everything for you guys so that your whole thing looks cool. We won't make these very big though, so be prepared for that. We're going to go ahead and make it a pretty cool color, roundify it, and then we'll just duplicate this one and bring it over here as our credits frame. So we'll name this one credits frame. And then we'll come over here and name this one our help frame. All right. So in our help frame, what we're going to do is add a text label. And of course, you can adjust these how you want. I'm not going to be adding too much into them simply for the sake of time and not making this video 1,000 minutes long. And all we'll be doing is text scaling and making the background invisible, and we'll just call this help frame. Not that, this. Okay, so that's our help frame. And honestly, we can just copy this like that and call this our credits frame. Okay, so now that we have these open, we're going to click this and we're going to make this visible, and we're going to go to visible. We're going to uncheck it. We're going to do the same thing for this one. All right, so now we will be going into the help button first. All right, we're going to go to the text button. We're going to set a local script in there. So now at the beginning of this, we're going to put local GUI equals script dot parent dot parent dot parent dot help frame. All right, so that will be our help frame. And then of course, as I said earlier, we'll put a script dot parent dot mouse click button one click connect function, and then everything in here. This is all you need to put in here, and I'll be showing you what I mean by kind of a double function, I guess you could say. So we're going to put it as GUI.visible equals not GUI.visible. All right, and this is all you need to type in for this, and you need to make sure that your names in your scripts match the ones that you have here, and make sure that you have the correct amount of parents to be able to reach the specific frame or image that you're looking for. So we're going to click play here, and once we click our help button, as you see, if we click it once, it opens. If you click it again, it closes. And that's basically all you need to do. Of course, if you want to adjust the size of this, you can. You can add more to it, or you can in fact put it inside the game if you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be here, but it just adds more to the main menu instead of just being a play button. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact thing for our credits. Just as a refresh, we're going to insert our local script. We're going to put local GUI equals script.parent.parent.parent, and then we have credits frame. All right, now another way to do this is put local GUI equals game dot starter GUI dot main menu, which of course the name of your GUI would have to be one word so that you don't get this error. And while we're on this topic here, if your words, like, I'm going to show you the difference between these. So this is what you want to see. This is what you don't want to see. If your words have spaces in it, it'll do this, and then your script will no longer work. But where I'm going with this is to go background help frame, and if, of course, if you want to save a little bit of time or a few seconds or so, you could do it that way as well to get linked to it. So, if I take out the space out of the screen GUI over here, put local GUI equals game dot starter GUI dot main menu dot background dot help frame. You can also do it that way as well, but we'll stick to the other way. So we're going to put script dot parent dot mouse button one click connect function, and then we will put the same thing in here. GUI dot visible equals not UI dot visible, and now we will go in and click play and test it out. Now, as you see, this one does the same exact thing as a help frame. Now, this should all close once we click play, and there you have it. That is how you add a menu to your game. And if you guys want to try it, let's try to get to 200 likes, and we'll come back to this as a part 2, and we'll add a loading bar and some more fancy stuff that you guys might enjoy. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. It's really something you have to commit to, especially when it comes to learning this type of stuff. It's really simple, and once you start getting the wording down for GUIs, you can work towards other harder stuff like making an inventory and all that other cool stuff, which we might make videos for. But let's go ahead and try to get 200 likes, and I'll be making a part 2 for this and adding a loading screen and all that other cool stuff. I'm sure there's 1,000 of them, but we'll make it cooler, because why not? I hope you guys like this video, and I hope you guys found it very helpful. Leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, that's all I have for you today. Peace.